Hello, I'm Katie with Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom.
And I'm Alicia with Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom.
Thank you so much for volunteering to help us with our ag literacy life cycle of a pumpkin presentations. We've had over 850 classroom presentations scheduled across the state, and we definitely couldn't do it without you guys. So a big, huge thank you. I know you're going to do great. But to help you maybe ease those nerves a little bit, we're going to do a little training video with you guys today. So your teachers should have received all of your classroom packets. They're going to look like this. Your packet is going to have a teacher name and a school name and the number of students on there. The very first thing I would encourage you guys to do is take each of those envelopes, open them up, and pull out all of the worksheets. And also make sure there is a little bag of Brads that's in there. You're going to need that. And then there will also be a book. So each envelope will have a book, a bag of Brads, and then worksheets. There are 2 different pages to the worksheet. So that's very important. The first thing we're going to encourage you guys to do is go through and check those envelopes. If it says there's 27 on your envelope, go through and check, do you have 27 sets of the life cycle of a pumpkin sheet? Do you have 27 Brads? And most importantly, do you have the book? Because you're going to read this book during your presentation, and then you are also going to give this book to your teacher that you're presenting to as sort of a parting gift, something for them to have in their classroom library. Okay, so again, you're going to have your book, your bag of Brads, and a 2-page worksheet for each student. So go ahead and count, do a double check, make sure it's all there. Now, for some presentation prep, you also may have received orange paper plates with a bunch of cutouts inside. If you didn't receive the orange paper plates from us, your teachers have the PDF of all of these amazing pieces, and you'll just use a white paper plate and color it
orange.
I mean, that's the pumpkin we're going with today, right? We know that pumpkins come in all sorts of different colors, but we do not want to confuse these kiddos. Remember, they are kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade students. So go ahead and take your white paper plates, make them orange. But what you're going to do so that you have it for the presentation is you need to pre-color all of these pieces. So your seed's going to be brown, kind of a tan color. Your leaf is going to be green. Your blossom is going to be kind of a golden orange. So maybe use an orange and a golden yellow. Okay. And then you're going to have a baby green pumpkin. And then of course, a bigger yellow pumpkin. And then your orange pumpkin is your paper plates. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see through here on your seed. Once you're done, you cut it out, punch a hole, and just a single hole, because that will attach to the leaf, which will need 2 holes, to the blossom, to the green, to the yellow, and to the orange. Now, why is it important that you connect them in that way? Because as you'll see, when we do the presentation with the kiddos in just a little bit, you're going to surprise them and you're going to pull these pieces out, and you want it to be magic. Okay, so that's the magic that'll happen. So to make the magic work, make sure you're doing this correctly. You'll see this again here in just a couple moments for the presentation. So I think that's a good start for the pieces that you need for the presentation, except one piece. What else do they need?
So before you guys go, you should make a model, an example of your pumpkin life cycle. Okay, so it is the 2 different papers. So you have the cover, and then you have the wheel that goes inside. Okay, so you're going to make sure that you guys color it, put your name on it, and cut them out. Okay, so there should be 2 different pieces.
Look at how pretty this is.
Okay.
Now, you could do this however you want. You don't have to color in the different pieces of the pie. You can just color in the pieces along the outside. That is 100% up to you. The only thing you do need to pay attention to is when it talks about a green pumpkin, a yellow pumpkin, and an orange pumpkin, you need to make sure those are the correct color and make the blossom the correct color and the soil the correct color. Don't be going with purple soil, right? Let's keep those images as realistic as possible.
Right. And So you're going to make sure your name's on that. And then you're going to poke a little hole and you'll put the brad through, and then it'll be a little wheel so that you guys can use it for the presentation and as an example.
And once that brad goes through, you're going to poke it through and then make sure you fold the back side of the brad flat.
You take it and fold it just like that.
Perfect. And then it'll
So that you
allow for
spin.
a spin. Thus, the life cycle of a pumpkin spinner. Yep, you'll have your very own by the time today is done. So, okay. So now that you guys have the pieces, go ahead and pause this video if you need to make those individual pieces, the actual life cycle chain, or if you need to make your sample of the pumpkin spinner, go ahead and pause the video. And then we'll get into exactly what you're going to do in the classroom. All right, now that you guys are all done, hopefully you're all done. Hopefully you paused it. Otherwise, that was a really weird pause there at the moment. Okay, so we are going to pretend you guys are the classroom. Okay, couple of notes before we pretend you're a classroom full of students, things that we want you to pay attention to, especially if you guys are going in teams. Make sure you have practiced the presentation so that you know what part each person is going to do. You don't want to be talking over each other or interrupting each other. So maybe somebody's going to do the introduction, and maybe somebody's going to be the story reader. Maybe somebody's going to be in charge of this part. Maybe somebody's going to be in charge of explaining the life cycle of a pumpkin spinner, and then you will all help pass out the pieces and so on and so forth. But really separate who's going to be in charge of what. When you go into the classroom, you might find that the students are ready and waiting for you on the story carpet, or you might also find that the teacher has forgotten you are there, and that's okay. Don't make them feel bad for forgetting that you're going to be there. Just say, "Hi, I am so-and-so from blah, 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 blah high school, and we are here for the Farm Bureau life cycle of a pumpkin presentation." And they'll say, "Oh, okay, get the kids to the story carpet." That's really where you want the presentation to start. So you'll start with all of the students down on the story carpet for the introduction and for the story, and then for the activity, after you've explained it, as you'll see in our example, you'll send them back to their desks to do the actual activity. Make sure if there's multiple students, high school students doing the presentation, while the story is going on, you are sitting there with the students, listening very carefully to the story and helping them stay focused. You don't want to be in the back of the room or off to the side talking and having conversation, because it'll be very, very distracting to the students. Instead, you want to model what you want them to be doing, which is sitting crisscross applesauce on the carpet. Yes, you are a 5-year-old today, and listening and interacting with whomever it is in your group who's doing the story. Okay, so here we go. Ready? Begin. Good morning. My name is Miss Katie.
And I'm Miss Alicia.
And we are here from the Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom program to talk to you guys about one of our favorite things.
Agriculture.
Raise your hand if you've heard of the word agriculture before. That's what I thought. Not very many of you. That's okay. Can you guys say agriculture? Agriculture. Very good. Okay. When you guys hear the word agriculture, I want you to think of farmers and ranchers. Raise your hand if you've heard of a farmer or a rancher before. I thought we'd get more of you. All right, well, let's take a moment to talk about our ranchers. Our ranchers here in Arizona are sometimes called cowboys and cowgirls. And here in Arizona, they might take care of 3 different types of animals. Raise your hand if you can tell me one animal that a rancher would take care of. That's right. Our ranchers take care of
Beef cattle.
beef cattle. I will tell you, they usually don't say beef cattle first, right? They usually say horses, right? They'll usually say horses. That's right. So we're going to go with beef cattle though. So that's right. They take care of beef cattle. Do you guys know what we get from beef cattle? Sometimes they know the answer, sometimes they don't, right? So just go with it. That's right. We get beef. So things like, raise your hand if you like hamburgers, steak, roast, beef jerky, Okay, well, those are some of the things that come from our beef cattle. Okay, so we now know that our ranchers, they take care of beef cattle. What other animal might they have?
Horses. Yeah.
That's right, very good. They ride around on their horses to gather their beef cattle. Now, our ranchers here in Arizona, they also take care of another animal. Yes, that's right. They do have dogs, but they also take care of another animal, which is kind of tricky. So I'm going to make the sound of this animal. When I make the sound of this animal, if you know what I'm talking about, you just say it right out loud. Are you ready? All right. Our ranchers here in Arizona, they take care of horses, beef cattle, and that's right. They take care of sheep. And do you guys know what we get from sheep?
Wool. Good job.
Very good. We give our sheep a haircut and we take that wool and we can use it to make all sorts of things to keep us warm. Blankets, scarves, hats, all sorts of amazing things. Okay, so now you know that our ranchers take care of horses, beef cattle, and sheep. So let's talk about our farmers. Do they also care for animals? That's right, they do. Can anybody tell me an animal that a farmer takes care of?
Oh, pigs. Yes.
Pigs. Can anybody make the sound of a pig? Very good. All right, raise your hand if you know what we get from pigs. Yes, bacon, sausage, hot dogs, ham, pork chops. Very good. Lots and lots of things come from our pigs. So it's a good thing our farmers take such good care of them. What's another animal that a farmer takes care of? That's right, chickens. What do we get from chickens?
Eggs. Yeah.
And what else? Chicken, chicken nuggets, chicken wings, all of those different things. Very good. So now we know that our farmers, they take care of chickens, they take care of pigs, and they also take care of another animal that's pretty similar to the animal that our ranchers take care of. Do you guys know what that is? That's right. They take care of cows. And what do we get from the cows that farmers take care of?
Milk. You guys know it.
All right. And so we call those cows dairy cows. Can you guys say dairy cows? Dairy cows. Very good. And our dairy cows, they're only girls. And that's because they have to have a baby to be able to produce that milk for us. Okay. So now we know that ranchers take care of animals. Farmers take care of animals, but do farmers also do something else besides taking care of animals? You're right, they do. What is that?
They grow things. Okay.
They grow things. Does anybody know what we call the things that farmers grow? They might say it or they might not, but the word you're looking for is crops. Can you guys say crops? Crops. Very good. Okay, so crops are all of those different fruits, vegetables, and fibers that our farmers are growing in those fields. So let's see what kind of fruits and vegetables you guys like. Raise your hand if you like to eat broccoli. What's another one?
Raise your hand if you like to eat corn.
Cauliflower?
Potatoes?
Asparagus? You got to know your fruits and vegetables for this one, guys. Carrots? Asparagus? I think I said that already.
Squash?
Brussels sprouts, right? Make sure you know like maybe 10 different vegetables to say, okay? All right, well, I'm glad you guys like to eat your vegetables. Now, who in here likes to eat fruit? They're going to go nuts, I promise you, right? Okay, who in here likes apples?
Watermelon?
Bananas?
Oranges?
Mangoes?
Pineapples?
Kiwis?
Cherries?
Grapes?
Blackberries?
Blueberries?
Strawberries?
Raspberries? We could do this all day, right? Okay, so go through some fruits with them. How about, does anybody in here like pumpkins?
Oh, I love pumpkins.
Hopefully they're all gonna go crazy for you because pumpkins are my favorite thing that farmers grow. And that is what we are going to spend the rest of the day learning about. Okay, so to learn about pumpkins, we are going to begin with the story. Raise your hand if you like stories. I thought so. I love stories, right? So before we can begin with our story, I need to see that you guys are all ready. Crisscross applesauce on your pockets, hands in your laps, ears open, mouths quiet. Here we go. Our story today is called Pumpkin Circle by George Levinson. The pumpkin seed makes the pumpkin plant, and the pumpkin plant makes the pumpkins. As you guys can see, I'm holding the story so that they can read it. You cannot read it like this and tell them you'll show them the pictures at the end. They won't listen and they'll totally freak out. So make sure you read through the book a couple of times so that you can be familiar with what's on the pages for how fast you're reading. Make sure that you're familiar with all of those words as well. That's very important. Deep within each pumpkin, the air is damp and cool. The walls are lined with teardrop seeds, each one a slippery jewel. How many of you guys have stuck your hand inside a pumpkin and got to feel the guts in there with the seeds? Ooh, that's my least favorite part. Scrape them from their orange cave. Wash away squishy mush. Save a few to grow next spring and have a bunch to munch. Make sure you're kind of doing the arc with the pictures because the kiddos will be down there on the floor, right? They won't all be directly in front of you.
And make sure you're talking towards the students, not towards the book, because they won't be able to hear you.
Yes. So when the earth is soft and warm, plant those sleeping seeds. In about 1 week, out they peek, 2 fresh, young, fat, green leaves. How long did it take for our seeds to turn into these 2 green leaves? That's right, about 1 week. This garden will become home to many pumpkin cousins. 1 big pumpkin family, 5 varieties. Each one started from different pumpkin seeds. Have you guys heard that variety before? Can you say variety? Variety, very good. So variety just means different types. So you guys can see our seeds here. And do you see how they all look a little bit different? They're different sizes, even a little bit different shape and different colors. Well, each of these different seeds is going to produce a different variety or type of pumpkin. So different size, shape, and color. They will all be different. Every passing minute awakens each new plant, reaching down with silky roots, reaching up to dance. Show me with your hands, either up or down. What direction do the roots grow? That's right, they grow down, which means our stems shoot up towards the sun, right? Week by week, the backyard patch spreads before your eyes, filling every inch of space with leaves and roots and vines. Can you guys find the pumpkins in there? Do you see any of the big orange pumpkins? I see one right there. Right, so you want to engage them. You don't have to do it on every single page, but at least every other page, you want to be asking them a question and engaging with them. Huge green leaves grow toward the sky, prickly, lush, and wide. They soak up sun and water and make a shady place to hide. Twisty tendrils grasp like hands, stretching out to cling. They roll down into fancy curls and wind up just like springs. Do you guys see the tendrils? how curly they are. Then, silently as angels, flower buds appear with pointy little collars and gleaming silver hair. Do you guys see right here? So here's our flower bud that pretty soon is going to open up. And this is where pumpkin is going to be. Velvet petals open, brilliant sunlit bowls, delicately fragrant, a sign of pumpkin gold. What color are pumpkin blossoms? That's right, they're gold, kind of an orangey yellow color. Very good. Along come the bees, floating through the air, buzzing, gathering, guzzling, zooming everywhere. Do you guys know what the bees are doing to our pumpkin blossoms? That's right, they're pollinating. Very good. Butterflies and spiders, grasshoppers and snails explore the pumpkin garden as they travel private trails. 100 days of weather, 100 days of care. Pumpkins climbing up the fence, pumpkins everywhere. How long did it take for the pumpkins to get that big? 100 days. Help those pumpkins sit up straight so they grow up round and proud. Scratch on pumpkin names so they stand out in a crowd. Or just sit back and enjoy the view. Pumpkins grow because pumpkins know exactly what to do. When summer turns to fall, green turns to gold. Shorter days bring chilly nights, and pumpkin vines grow old. Now comes the harvest. Pluck treasures from the vine. Clear away lifeless leaves. Hide the rags of time. Gather up the finished fruit, ripe and fully grown. Tidy up the garden. Make a cozy pumpkin home. Salute the pumpkin circle. Make way for pumpkin cheer. Behold the pumpkin miracle. We're pumpkin millionaires. Now, I don't know if you guys heard it, but it said, gather up the finished fruit. Did you guys know pumpkins were a fruit? Of course you did. Who can tell me why a pumpkin is a fruit? What does it have inside? That's right, seeds. Very good. Make up pumpkin faces. Add bright candlelight. Set them on your doorstep. Let them flicker through the night. What do we call pumpkins that we carve faces into? Jack-o'-lanterns. Very good. Every day those pumpkins change, getting older, getting strange, sinking, shrinking pumpkins. Back to earth you go, turning into muck and dirt, a place for seeds to grow. So we started our pumpkins and it started to decompose, right? And all of a sudden it went back down into the earth where we could plant our new seeds again. How did this begin? What is this pumpkin thing? Is there a Mother Nature? Is there a pumpkin king? We can be sure of this. It's a circle without end. It's pumpkin seeds to pumpkin seeds again. Did you guys like that story? I love that story. Well, we are going to give this book to your teacher so that you can keep it here in the classroom library. So if you want to remember what we talked about today, it'll be right here for you. Is that exciting? They'll all scream, believe me. You can give the book to the teacher. All right. Okay, you guys did such a great job listening to the story, but now I want to see what you remember from the story. So to do that, I need to know who has a really good imagination. Raise your hand. Who can play pretend really well? You're in first grade. I thought you could pretend. You can all pretend. Okay. So I need you to use your imagination and tell me what this is. No, you're supposed to use your imagination. It's not orange paper plates. It is a big, fat orange pumpkin. Now, we learned in our story that we don't just snap our fingers and a pumpkin appears, right? Right. To grow a pumpkin, we have to have a what? What do we have to have? What's the first thing? That's right. We have to have a seed. And we plant that seed into the soil and make sure it has plenty of
water
and warmth from the sun. And after just a little while, that pumpkin seed sprouts, and what appears? Those green leaves. Very good. And as those green leaves grow bigger, they grow into a pumpkin vine full of big green leaves. And as that vine continues to grow, what color flowers appear?
Golden.
Very good. Whoop, golden, right? Our pumpkin blossoms appear. And then what comes to pollinate our pumpkin blossoms? Bzzz, the bees. And a baby, what color pumpkin appears? Green. And that baby green pumpkin grows bigger into a what color pumpkin? Yellow. And finally, that yellow pumpkin grows into a big, fat orange pumpkin. Now, when we cut open those pumpkins and we reach inside, what do we find? Seeds. Can we plant this seed and get all of these things again? We can. And that's why it's called the life cycle of a pumpkin. It keeps on going. So today, you guys are going to make your very own life cycle of a pumpkin. But you're not going to make this life cycle of a pumpkin because this takes about an hour and we have about 10 minutes. So instead of this life cycle of a pumpkin, today you guys are going to make your very own life cycle of a pumpkin spinner. Woo! Miss Alicia is going to tell you exactly what it is going to happen when you get back to your seat. So listen carefully.
Okay, when you get to your seats, your teacher or the other volunteer is going to pass out 2 papers to you. So one of them says pumpkin life cycle, and there's a space for your name.
What are they going to put there?
So you're going to put your name, write your name down. If you need help, raise your hand so your teacher can help you with your name. But I think you all know how to spell your name now. Yeah? Okay, so you're going to write your name on there. And then the other paper is going to be all the different things on this circle. So there's things that the pumpkin needs to grow and the different stages of it. So that's why we have the pumpkin life cycle. So all the different things.
So what do you guys think the first stage of the life cycle is going to be? What did we start with? Our seeds. Very good. And we have our soil and water and sunlight. And then our seeds sprout and grow into a pumpkin vine, which gets a pumpkin blossom, a green pumpkin, a yellow pumpkin, and orange pumpkin. So you guys will see here, it says green pumpkin, yellow pumpkin, and orange pumpkin. What color are you going to color the green pumpkin? Green. What color is the yellow pumpkin going to be? Yellow. Very good.
Okay, so make sure you look at those so you know which color to color those things.
And when you get back to your seats, you're also going to find these colored brads. I know, what's that, right? They're just these silly things, all bright colors. Don't play with them. We're going to show you what to do with them when we get to that point, okay? So the very first thing you're going to do when you get to your seat is you're going to find your worksheets and you're going to get out a pair of scissors, okay? Because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut. Make sure when you're cutting, you cut on the outside lines, okay? Only the outside lines. So on this one, you're going to cut outside the pumpkin. And on this one, you're going to cut just outside the circle, not these lines, only the outside circle.
So you'll have this shape. See how there's that little, looks like a little pizza slice in there, little triangle. and then the circle. Okay, so it should be one huge wheel and the pumpkin.
Awesome. All right. So everybody, when I say go, walk nicely and quietly back to your seats. Go. All right. At this time, they're going to be walking nicely and quietly back to their seats. You can always have the worksheets with the teacher and ask the teacher to pass out the worksheets in a brad to each student's desk while you're presenting. That will cut about 4 minutes out of the presentation, which will be pretty good for you. So you can always, again, ask them to have those set out so that they're ready for the students when they get to their desks. So once they're seated quietly at their desk, the best way is to direct them all to the same thing. Okay, I want everybody to grab your life cycle of a pumpkin page and get your scissors and let's cut along the lines. Now, as they're cutting, make sure you guys are walking around, watching them, telling them they're doing a good job. If they're starting to cut on the wrong line, don't be like, no, that's wrong. Just, oh, let's make sure we're cutting on the outside. And you'll just kind of repeat that as you're going through. Great job cutting around the outside. Then once you've noticed that most of the students have cut out their pumpkins, you will then move on to the wheel, and you'll do the exact same thing, right? Have them cut them out. Once everybody's cut out, you can have them put their scissors away and get out their crayons. Of course, they're going to need brown, yellow, green, and orange. So if they don't have their own colored pencils or crayons and they're sharing from a community bucket, tell them that they can color them out of order. It's okay. Because if somebody else is using the brown, then go get the yellow and color the things that need to be yellow. Okay. That will get you through the presentation. But usually not in first and second grade, but in kindergarten, that can be a challenge. If the kids don't have their own crayons, they kind of panic if their friend is using that color. So once everything is colored, they're going to put it together. If you are in a first or a second grade class, you will be able to instruct the students how to put the brad in. If you are in a kindergarten class, the teacher and you as volunteers, while they're coloring, are just going to go around and begin to put the pumpkins together for them. Once you've pushed the brad through, you will give it back to them and they can continue coloring from that point. Be very aware of where you're sticking the brad though, so that you are seeing all of the life cycle when you spin it through. You don't want this to be too high and you don't want it to be too low. So kind of line this up where it needs to be here and then push the brad through the center.
So
okay?
I would recommend put the hole through here first. And so you have the hole and then I put it, and I actually took the brad and poked the hole so I knew where it would line up perfect where I wanted it.
And ours are laminated, so they were really difficult to push through. You guys are just doing it through regular paper, so hopefully it doesn't.
And once you've done a few, you'll probably see the exact spot that you need to poke it.
So yes, look at those amazing pumpkin spinners. So make sure you guys are watching the time so that you're not going over your 30 minutes. Let's say you're at 28.5 minutes, right? And the kids are still coloring, but you have all the pumpkins together. That's totally okay. Just call their attention again. Hey friends, eyes up here. Get their attention again and say, who had fun today? I had fun, right? We had fun. Thank you so much for letting us visit you. Do you guys now all know the life cycle of the pumpkin? And they're going to say yes. And then I just hold up my pumpkin spinner and say, okay, we start with a seed. They'll yell at you. Plant it in the soil. Make sure it has plenty of water and sunlight and air. And then it's going to sprout, right? And turn into a vine. Go through the wheel so they see how it is. Thank you again. We hope you guys have a fabulous rest of the day and we'll see you next time. They will clap for you. You will gather your stuff and leave. Feel free, if there are extra brads, to grab them just in case in the next class, maybe they got a new student and there's not quite enough. Feel free to take the extra papers and things with you. If there are students that are absent, typically the teacher will tell you that. And so you can leave a set for each student that is in fact absent so that they have the opportunity to make it as well. So I think that's it.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was helpful to you all. We also will have a video link that we'll share with your teacher that is us giving the presentation truly 100% as if we were in the classroom. But I think this video should help you guys through. If you're missing any items, please let your teacher know so that they can contact us prior to, and we can figure out a way to get you any missing materials. But hopefully that is not going to happen. But definitely double check those envelopes. Please make sure when you go into the classroom that you are representing your high school and your FFA chapter or your organization well. A little word of advice for dress code. I would probably wear jeans that day. I know it can get hot, but remember, you're sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor, and we don't want to be showing those students anything that they don't need to be seeing. So jeans are usually recommended. And if you happen to have a t-shirt or polo that has your school or organization represented on it, I would encourage you guys to wear that, right? This is a great opportunity for them to see how cool the high school students are. And remember, these students love the fact that you are visiting them. You are high school kids who are coming into their classroom. You really can say no wrong or do no wrong. So follow the script, smile, be excited, be enthusiastic, and most importantly, have fun with those students. So thanks again for all of your help. We so appreciate you. And I'm sure we'll see you all again for the next training video for Dr. Seuss. See ya.
Bye.